Hey guys, so I did an education about the frog in boiling water and where that all came from, and the Fabian Society and the Industrial Revolution and how we got to where we are today. But I'm all about let's focus on what we can do, not what we can't do now that we're jumping out of this pot, right? We can't move to Privacy Planet. We're stuck on planet Earth. So when we walk outside our front door, these systems are in place, and yes, they're broken. Otherwise, why would I even be sitting in a car park talking to you right now? I would be, but again, about tea and strawberries and chocolate. Amazing trilogy. But I'm going to talk about a different trilogy, all right? I call it the Remedy Trilogy. It just came out of my mouth the other day when I was sharing about the frog and boiling water saga. And then some amazing members of the community reached out to me on Signal, and they're just saying that's it, right? I always talk about we need to cover both arse cheeks, but actually we need to cover both arse cheeks and our back, right? Let's make sure no one can stab us in the back with, let's make sure no entity, no one can get their grubby hands on our interests, our investments, our property, things that are of value to us. We don't want anyone stabbing in us in the back about that. So that's the back. That's one part of the trilogy. Then we've got the right arse cheek. That is what we would like to have in this alternative private jurisdiction, right? Our rights. We were born into having these birthrights, okay? So that's to protect life in the alternative jurisdiction. And again, I don't call it the private. You can't live in the private. Well, the only way you could live fully in the private if you rescinded and gave notice to all of the contracts that you have in the GovCorp Commerce Public Highway, okay? So you would have to give notice to the registration number on your birth certificate, not reconveyance it, but give notice to it, null and void. Your Medicare card, if you're in Australia, right? If you're in the UK, for example, it would be the national insurance number. Then in America, your social security number. Then you would have to rescind your contract to your driving license, your registration, your passport if you want to go overseas. The list goes, tax file number, ABN. We don't like most of those things anyway, but you're getting the picture, right? So my right arse cheek is hanging in this public GovCorp sector. So we need to look after that. And this is the second part of this trilogy. How are we going to do that? So the name on all those contracts in capital letters, the all caps name, I want to protect because I can't get rid of it. I do need to function when I go outside my front door. So how are we going to do that? So this is where we need to deal with our name being registered on the birth certificate, which is where the chattel, where the cows that they make profit from. So what are we going to put it? We need to put an interest over that before they do. And that's where the Uniform Commercial Code comes in. But just doing a Uniform Commercial Code filing and registering it doesn't cut the mustard, okay? We've seen a lot of that over the last few months. Doing a public notice in a published newspaper, whether it's a music magazine or your own private space publication, or it could be a national newspaper, right, like the Australian, right? It could be the Times. Doesn't cut the mustard either, right? There is a whole lot of accompanying documentation that needs to go along with that UCC filing, right, to place the copyright notice over that all caps name, over my image, over my DNA, over any collateral that I want to list, whether it's my pet cat, right? Whether it's my 5-year-old son, whether it's a house in my own name that isn't in trust. You could also list trusts that you have. It could be bank accounts, right? It could be your Medicare card number. It could be a gold watch that your grandmother gave you. All right, you're getting the point? It's all listed under the UCC, but done in a careful way. It is not a private process. That is a public commercial process, but it must be done in a very specific way and in a very specific order. So that is to look after that second layer of remedy. That's my right arse cheek hanging out in the private. Okay, now that's the dead entity that we're protecting there, the debtor. That's not really me. That's just the name on the birth certificate, on the ID. So I've taken care of that. Now what about the real me, the flesh, the blood, right? The living woman that I am. How are we going to protect that? This is where international law comes in. Covenants, treaties and laws based on international laws, but we're not going to throw paint at a wall and hope some of it sticks, right? They have to be the right international laws, covenants and treaties that have been ratified in the country that we are running our projects in to protect the life force living energy of the living man or woman. That's me, the creditor, the living. That's the third layer of remedy. Now the thing is, that remedy trilogy, I think, is the best way to protect that left butt cheek in the private alternative jurisdiction, the living me, the right butt cheek, the dead entity, right? The debtor, the all caps name on those IDs and the contracts, and my back, which is I don't have anything of value in my personal name that's on those contracts. I have it under trust. And again, I will say this, not all trusts are the same. Some trusts have specific things in the deed, whereas other trusts don't have the same things. Some trusts are specific for property. Some are great just for a community bank account. Some trusts are fantastic as a family trust. So you must make sure the clauses in the deed suit your outcome, suit what you're trying to do. So we're going to look after the assets, we're going to look after the right butt cheek, right? The all caps name, and we're going to look after the left butt cheek, which is the living, breathing man or woman. That's the Remedy Trilogy. Since I was about 13 years old, I've believed that life always comes in threes. So I'm just sharing my thoughts out loud. This is not giving anyone advice. But if anyone would like to have a yarn about the Remedy Trilogy, right, you know where I am. You can shoot me a message on my Instagram, DM me. A lot of the community know where to find me, so hit me up. If you can't get in contact via that way, just say in the comments, hey, I'd like to have a chat with you, and I will let you know how. So it's been great sharing and rambling these thoughts as I drive in Lotso the van. By the way, if you have watched my previous videos, I was sharing with you the amazing projects that Lotso the van is going to be used for. We're sharing about the wellness of CBD oil for the endocannabinoid system of the body. We're also going to be traveling out to rural areas to share about natural remedies instead of traditional pharma. And we're going to be visiting sanctuaries for women, pets and children who have left situations of family violence. Sometimes they just need Reiki healing. Sometimes they just need to share a pot of tea and have a good chat. Other times we'll show them how to do really good conscious spending plans, because who likes a financial budget? Ugh, not me. Sometimes, you know what, we'll talk about self-esteem and rebuilding ourselves brick by brick. And this is what Lotso the van is going to do. And a lot of the places that we visit are more than a day trip away. And we want to be able to stay out where we can be of service, especially in rural areas. The whole purpose of these projects with Purpose, Mission, Legacy is to literally fill the gaps that GovCorp are not providing. Even some of the non-profit organisations that are registered in the system are just not really providing it, or a lot of the money that we donate just goes into administration. And so I really think we need to help at the grassroots level, and we need to make sure that every dollar and every ounce of energy, whether that's volunteering, our time, or, you know, sharing our wisdom, goes to the source of where it is absolutely needed. So anyway, if you want to chat about any of these things, as usual, I'd love to have a chat, and good night.